She climbed into death wearing emerald silk and a birthday smile, not knowing the car she'd mistaken for her ride home belonged to the one man in the city who could destroy her with a single command. When Seo Joon-woo's massive frame turned around and his eyes locked onto hers, something primal and irrevocable snapped into place. The predator had found his mate, and he wasn't programmed to let go. "Tell me your name," he commanded as the doors locked automatically, his voice carrying the weight of a man who'd killed for less. "Because you just became the most dangerous thing in my world, and I protect what's mine. Welcome to my channel, fam. Please like, share, and subscribe." Seraphina's heart hammered against her ribs as she registered her mistake. This wasn't her rideshare driver. The man before her wore a tailored black suit that probably cost more than her monthly rent, his broad shoulders filling the space like he owned the very air. Dark hair swept back from a face carved from marble, beautiful and terrifying in equal measure. "I'm sorry, this is the wrong car," she stammered, reaching for the door handle. It didn't budge. Joon-woo's gaze traveled over her with unsettling slowness, taking in her birthday dress, emerald silk that hugged her curves, and the panic blooming in her honey-colored eyes. Something shifted in his expression, something primal and absolute. "What's your name?" His Korean accent wrapped around the English words like velvet over steel. "That's none of your business. Let me out." "Your name," he repeated, leaning forward. The interior light caught the dangerous beauty of his features. Sharp jawline, full lips, eyes that promised both salvation and ruin. "Seraphina." The word escaped before she could stop it. He smiled then, a slow curve that didn't reach his eyes. "Seraphina, I'm Seo Joon-woo, and you're not leaving until we talk." Later that night, Joon-woo had let her go eventually, but not before programming his number into her phone, not before his driver confirmed her address, for safety purposes, not before his fingers had brushed hers in a touch that burned like a brand. Seraphina collapsed onto her apartment couch, still trembling. She should call the police, report the kidnapping, because that's what it was, wasn't it? But something stopped her. The way he'd looked at her, like she was the answer to a question he'd been asking his entire life. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Happy birthday, Seraphina. Sleep well. You're mine now, even if you don't know it yet. JW." She should block him, delete the message. Instead, she read it 3 more times before falling into restless sleep filled with obsidian eyes. The next day, Seraphina's best friend Maya nearly choked on her latte when she heard the story. They sat in their favorite cafe, morning sun streaming through the windows. "You got into a strange car and he just kept you there? Girl, that's terrifying." "I know," Seraphina whispered, wrapping her hands around her own cup. "But Maya, he didn't hurt me. He was intense, possessive, but not violent." "Do you know who Seo Joon-woo is?" Maya's voice dropped to a whisper. She pulled out her phone, fingers flying across the screen. "Oh my God, Sarah, look!" The article showed Joon-woo at some gala, surrounded by men in expensive suits. The headline read, "Alleged Mafia Boss Seo Joon-woo photographed at charity event. Police unable to press charges." Seraphina's blood ran cold. Mafia? He runs half the underground operations in Seoul, supposedly. Untouchable. Dangerous. Maya gripped her hand. "You need to stay away from him." But even as Seraphina nodded, her phone buzzed again. "I'm outside. Come down. We need to talk properly." JW minutes later. He stood beside a different car this time, midnight blue, equally expensive. In daylight, he was even more imposing, easily 6'4", with shoulders that stretched his white dress shirt to its limits. But it was his face that held her captive, that devastating combination of beauty and danger. "How did you find me?" Seraphina demanded, keeping distance between them. "I find everyone I need to find." He opened the passenger door. "Get in, please." "Why would I do that?" "Because you want to know why I can't stop thinking about you. Why, the moment you climbed into my car, something in me recognized something in you." He stepped closer, his voice dropping. "Because you feel it too, this pull. Don't lie to me, Seraphina." She did feel it. God help her, she did. Like gravity had shifted, reorienting her entire world toward him. Against every instinct of self-preservation, she got in the car. An hour later, they drove to a private estate outside the city. Sprawling grounds, imposing architecture, armed guards at every entrance. Seraphina's anxiety spiked, but Joon-woo's hand found hers, his touch surprisingly gentle for a man rumored to break bones. Inside his study, he poured her wine with steady hands. "I want to explain something to you." "Explain what? That you're a criminal? That I should be running?" "I'm many things." He sat across from her, elbows on his knees, bringing his face level with hers. "Some of them not good, but I've never felt what I felt when I saw you. Like every decision I've made, every dark path I've walked, led me to that moment." "That's insane," she whispered, but her heart raced. "Yes." His smile was sad. "But it's true. I don't believe in fate, Seraphina. I believe in power, control, strategic moves. But you—" He reached out, fingers ghosting along her jaw. "You're my religion now." She should leave, should run. Instead, she leaned into his touch, helpless against the magnetic pull between them. A few days later, Joon-woo courted her with the intensity of a man obsessed. Flowers arrived at her apartment daily. Not roses, but her favorite peonies, which she'd never told him about. He sent cars to drive her to work at the small art gallery where she managed exhibitions. He appeared at her favorite bookstore, coincidentally, browsing the same aisles. "You're stalking me," she accused one evening, finding him waiting outside her building. "I'm protecting you." His expression darkened. "My enemies are numerous, Seraphina. The moment I showed interest in you, you became a target." "Then maybe you should stay away." Pain flashed across his features, raw and genuine. "I can't. I've tried. But you're in my blood now, under my skin. I'd rather die than give you up." The possessive declaration should have frightened her. Instead, heat pooled in her stomach, her body responding to the primal claim in his words. That night, he took her to dinner at an exclusive restaurant where the staff treated him like royalty, or perhaps like someone to be feared. Seraphina wore a black dress he'd sent, the fabric clinging to her curves in ways that made his jaw tighten. "You're staring," she murmured over wine. "I'm memorizing. Every curve, every expression, every breath." His hand covered hers on the table. "You're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, and I've seen empires rise and fall." Pretty words from a dangerous man. The most dangerous words are true ones. His thumb traced circles on her wrist, finding her racing pulse. "Your heart beats for me already. Admit it." Before she could respond, a man approached their table. Young, handsome, wearing a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Joon-woo Hyung, I didn't know you were dining here tonight." His gaze slid to Seraphina with obvious interest. "And who is this beautiful woman?" Joon-woo's expression went cold, lethal. "None of your concern, Min-ho. Leave." Moments later, but Min-ho didn't leave immediately. He extended his hand to Seraphina with practiced charm. "I'm Kang Min-ho. Any friend of Joon-woo's is welcome in my establishments. Perhaps you'd like a private tour sometime?" The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Joon-woo stood with predatory grace, his massive frame blocking Min-ho's view of Seraphina. "Touch her, look at her, think about her, and I'll feed you to the dogs. Am I clear? Possessive already?" Min-ho's laugh was nervous. "It's not like you to claim anyone." "She's not anyone. She's mine." Joon-woo's voice carried through the suddenly silent restaurant. "Spread the word. Seraphina Cole is under my protection. Anyone who harms her answers to me." Seraphina's breath caught. The public claim, the raw possessiveness, the danger rolling off him in waves. It should terrify her. Instead, liquid heat pooled low in her belly. Minho retreated quickly, and Joon-woo returned to his seat, jaw clenched. "You can't just claim me like property," she said, but her voice lacked conviction. His eyes met hers, blazing with intensity. "I just did, and you liked it." Late that night, he drove her home, silence heavy between them. At her door, Seraphina turned to face him, confused by the longing coursing through her veins. "This is crazy," she whispered. "We barely know each other." "I know you're afraid of abandonment because your father left when you were 7. I know you hide your vulnerability behind sarcasm. I know you dream of opening your own gallery, but don't believe you deserve it." He cupped her face with both hands, thumbs stroking her cheeks. "I know you're terrified of what you feel for me because you've never felt it before. How? I told you, I find what I need to find." He leaned closer, breath ghosting across her lips. "But unlike the others who've left you, I'm not going anywhere. Fight me, run from me, hate me. I'll still be here. You're mine, Seraphina, and I protect what's mine." "You don't own me," she breathed, but her hands fisted in his shirt, pulling him closer. "Then why are you holding on to me like I'm your lifeline?" She had no answer, so she kissed him instead. The next moment, the kiss exploded between them like a wildfire, desperate, consuming, inevitable. Joon-woo groaned. Against her mouth, hands sliding into her hair as he pressed her against the door. She tasted like wine and something sweeter, something that made him want to devour her whole. "Inside," she gasped when they broke apart. "Come inside." "Seraphina." His control hung by a thread. "If I come inside, I won't leave. I'll claim every inch of you. Are you ready for that?" Her answer was to unlock the door and pull him through it. They barely made it to her bedroom, shedding clothes between heated kisses and reverent touches. Joon-woo worshipped her curves with his hands and mouth, his massive frame gentle despite the hunger burning in his eyes. "Perfect," he murmured against her skin. "You're perfect, and mine." "Yours," she agreed and surrendered to the passion that had been building since that first fateful night. Hours later, Seraphina woke in Joon-woo's arms, his body curled protectively around hers. In sleep, he looked younger, less dangerous, beautiful in a way that made her chest ache. She traced the tattoos on his chest, intricate dragons and Korean characters she couldn't read. His eyes opened immediately, alert despite the hour. "Can't sleep?" "Thinking," she bit her lip, "about how insane this is, how I should be terrified of you." "Are you? Terrified?" His hand splayed across her lower back, possessive even in tenderness. "No, that's what scares me most." She met his gaze. "You should scare me, Joon-woo, but instead, I feel safe." Something vulnerable flickered in his expression. "You are safe. With me, you're untouchable. I'd burn the world before I let anyone hurt you." The intensity of his promise should have felt like too much. Instead, it felt like coming home. A week later. Seraphina tried to maintain normalcy, but everything had changed. Joon-woo was insatiable in his attention, calling multiple times daily, sending gifts, appearing at her gallery to simply watch her work. His presence drew stares, whispers, fear. "Your boyfriend's hot, but terrifying," Maya whispered during lunch. "Everyone's talking about you two. Some people are saying you should run." "He's not my boyfriend," Seraphina protested weakly. "Girl, he looks at you like you're his reason for breathing. What else would you call it?" Before Seraphina could answer, her phone buzzed. A photo message from Joon-woo, him at his desk, sleeves rolled up, looking at the camera with those devastating eyes. "Missing you. Come to me when you're done. I'll send a car. JW." Maya peeked at the screen and whistled. "Yeah, definitely not your boyfriend. Just a dangerously hot mafia boss who's obsessed with you. Totally casual." Seraphina couldn't help smiling. Casual was the last word to describe anything with Joon-woo. That evening, his estate had become familiar, the guards nodding at her in recognition, the staff treating her with careful respect. Joon-woo waited in his study, tension evident in his shoulders. "What's wrong?" she asked immediately. He pulled her onto his lap, burying his face in her neck. "Just needed you near. Bad day. Want to talk about it?" "No, just want to hold you." His arms tightened. "You're my peace, Seraphina. My only peace in this violent world." She ran her fingers through his hair, offering comfort. This was the side of him no one else saw, the vulnerability beneath the armor, the man who'd been shaped by violence but yearned for softness. "I'm here," she whispered. "I'm right here." They stayed like that for a long time, wrapped in each other, the world outside temporarily forgotten. A few days later, the first real threat came on a Tuesday. Seraphina was leaving the gallery when a black van pulled up, men in masks grabbing for her. She screamed, fighting back, but they were stronger. Then Joon-woo appeared like an avenging angel, massive, furious, lethal. He moved with brutal efficiency, taking down the attackers with precise violence. When the last man fell, he turned to Seraphina, blood on his knuckles. "Are you hurt?" His hands ran over her body, checking for injuries. "I'm fine. Joon-woo, you're bleeding." "I don't care." He crushed her against his chest, shaking. "They touched you, tried to take you from me. I'll kill everyone who was involved." The savage promise should have frightened her. Instead, she held him tighter, recognizing his fear beneath the rage. "I'm okay. You saved me. Always," he vowed. "I'll always save you, but this changes things. You can't be alone anymore. I'm assigning guards." "Joon-woo!" "Non-negotiable." His eyes blazed. "You're mine to protect, Seraphina. And I just proved how many people want to hurt you to get to me." Later that night, Seraphina couldn't stop shaking. The attack had shattered her sense of safety, made the danger surrounding Joon-woo terrifyingly real. He held her in his bed, murmuring Korean words she didn't understand but felt in her bones. "I'm so sorry," he whispered against her hair. "This is my fault. My world. My enemies. You're paying the price for my sins." "Don't." She pulled back to look at him. "Don't apologize for protecting me. Don't apologize for what we have. You should leave me. Be safe." "I don't want safe if it means losing you." The confession tumbled out before she could stop it. "I'm falling for you, Joon-woo. Maybe I fell that first night, and that terrifies me more than any danger." His expression cracked, revealing raw emotion beneath. "Seraphina, I'm scared you'll leave, that this intensity will fade and I'll be alone again. Everyone leaves eventually. Look at me." He gripped her face, forcing her gaze to his. "I have killed for you. I will kill for you again. I have dismantled criminal operations, made enemies of powerful men, painted a target on my own back, all to keep you safe. Does that sound like someone who's going anywhere?" Tears slipped down her cheeks. "Promise me. I promise you forever. I promise you my protection, my devotion, my obsession. I promise that you're the last woman I'll ever touch, the last woman I'll ever want." His voice turned fierce. "You're my woman, Seraphina, mine, and I don't let go of what's mine." The next morning, Joon-woo woke to find Seraphina's side of the bed cold. Panic seized him before he found her on his balcony, wrapped in his shirt, watching the sunrise. Couldn't sleep? He wrapped himself around her from behind. Thinking about yesterday, about what this life means. She leaned into him. "I'm in love with you, completely, terrifyingly in love with you." His heart stopped. "Say it again." "I love you, Seo Joon-woo. Your darkness, your danger, your possessive obsession with me, all of it." He spun her around, kissing her with desperate hunger. "I love you. God, Seraphina, I love you so much it's killing me. You're everything, my reason, my purpose, my future." They made love right there as the sun rose, claiming each other with whispered promises and desperate touches. When they finished, tangled, Together on the balcony furniture, Joon-woo knew he'd never let her go. "Marry me," he said suddenly. She laughed, breathless. "What?" "Marry me. I want you tied to me in every way possible. Legal, spiritual, permanent. Be my wife." "Joon-woo, we've known each other 3 weeks." "I knew in 3 seconds." His expression turned serious. "I'm not asking you to decide now, but know that I'm asking. Know that I want forever with you. Know that when you're ready, my ring is waiting." Seraphina kissed him, pouring her answer into the gesture. Not yet. But someday soon, 2 weeks later, life settled into a new rhythm, dangerous and intoxicating. Seraphina moved through her days with bodyguards in the shadows, Joon-woo's protection wrapping around her like armor. But the constant security reminded her that loving him meant living with threats she'd never imagined. At the gallery, a new artist's work arrived for exhibition. Seraphina threw herself into preparations, grateful for the distraction. She was cataloging pieces when a man entered. Expensive suit, easy smile, Western features. "Seraphina Cole?" He extended his hand. "James Crawford. I'm interested in acquiring some pieces." She shook his hand professionally, unaware of the camera across the street capturing the moment. Unaware that this simple interaction would nearly destroy everything. "Of course. Let me show you our collection." They spent an hour discussing art, his knowledge impressive, his manner charming. When he left with promises to return, Seraphina thought nothing of it. But Joon-woo's phone was already ringing with reports. Photos, videos, his woman touching another man. That evening, Joon-woo arrived at the gallery just as Seraphina was closing, his expression thunderous. She knew that look, jealousy and possession burning in those obsidian eyes. Who was he? His voice was dangerously soft. Who was who? "The man you were laughing with, touching." He stalked closer, caging her against. "The desk." "The man who had his hands on what's mine." "A client, Joon-woo, just a client interested in art." "You let him touch you." His hand wrapped around her throat, not squeezing, just holding, possessive. "These hands, this skin, this laugh, they're mine. Only mine." Heat flooded her despite the intensity of his jealousy. "You can't control every interaction I have." "Watch me." He lifted her onto the desk, settling between her thighs. "You're mine, Seraphina. Every inch, every breath, every smile. When other men look at you, I want to rip their eyes out. When they touch you..." His control cracked. "When they touch you, I lose my mind." It was innocent, she breathed, but her body responded to his possessiveness, craving his claim. "Nothing about you is innocent to men. They see what I see, this perfect body, this beautiful face, this strength wrapped in vulnerability." His lips found her neck. "But only I get to touch, only I get to have you. Say it." "I'm yours." She gasped as his hands mapped her curves. "Only yours." Hours later, they made it back to his estate, barely. The chemistry between them had reached a breaking point, jealousy and passion colliding into desperate need. In his bedroom, Joon-woo worshipped her body with renewed possessiveness, marking her skin with kisses, claiming her completely. "Mine," he growled against her curves. "Say it again." "Yours," she moaned, surrendering to the overwhelming pleasure. "Always yours." They moved together with fierce intensity, the connection between them transcending the physical. When they finally collapsed together, breathless and sated, Joon-woo held her like she might disappear. "I'm sorry," he whispered into the darkness. "My jealousy. It's irrational, I know that, but the thought of losing you..." "You won't lose me." She kissed his jaw. "But you have to trust me, Joon-woo. Trust that I choose you every day." "I trust you. It's the rest of the world I don't trust." His arms tightened. "Because they see what I see, and any man with eyes would want you." She smiled against his chest. "But I only want you." The next day, the threat came from an unexpected direction. Seraphina was having lunch with Maya when her phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello?" "Miss Cole, you don't know me, but I know you. I know you're involved with Seo Joon-woo." The voice was distorted, menacing. "That makes you leverage. Unless you want to end up dead in a river, leave him. Today." The call disconnected. Seraphina's hands shook so badly she dropped the phone. "Sarah, what's wrong?" Maya gripped her arm. Someone just threatened to kill me if I don't leave Joon-woo." Maya's face paled. "You need to tell him. Now." But fear crystallized in Seraphina's chest, not fear of the threat, but fear of what loving Joon-woo truly meant. A life always looking over her shoulder, always waiting for the next attack, always being used as a weapon against him. Maybe she should leave. Maybe loving him was signing her own death warrant. That night, Seraphina avoided Joon-woo's calls, her mind spinning. The phone call had awakened every abandonment fear, every insecurity she'd buried. Everyone she'd ever loved had left her, by choice or circumstance. Why would Joon-woo be different? He'd eventually tire of protecting her, eventually resent the complications she brought to his life, eventually leave. Better to leave first. Better to end it on her terms before he shattered her completely. She was packing a bag when her apartment door crashed open. Joon-woo stood there, wild-eyed and furious, his men behind him. "What are you doing?" His voice cracked. "I can't do this anymore." Tears streamed down her face. "I can't live like this, always afraid, always waiting for someone to kill me to hurt you. I can't." "So you're running." He crossed to her in 3 strides, gripping her shoulders. "You're leaving me because you're scared." "I received a death threat today." A very real, very specific death threat. "And you think running will save you?" He shook her gently. "You think my enemies will forget you exist just because you leave? You're already marked, Seraphina. The only safe place for you is with me." Moments later, "You said everyone leaves," she sobbed. "You'll leave too, eventually. When protecting me becomes too hard, too dangerous, too much. Look at me." His voice turned fierce. "I have ended men for looking at you wrong. I have restructured my entire organization to keep you safe. I have made you the center of my world, the reason I breathe." He cupped her face, thumbs wiping her tears. "You think I'll leave? You think anything in this world could make me walk away from you?" "I'm scared," she whispered. "I'm so scared of losing you." "Then stop pushing me away. Stop running from the only person who will never abandon you." His forehead pressed to hers. "I love you. Obsessively, completely, forever. Fight the world with me, not against me. Let me protect you. Let me love you." "I don't know how to not be afraid." "Then be afraid. But be afraid with me. Be afraid while I hold you, while I shield you, while I prove every day that I'm not going anywhere." His kiss was desperate. "Stay, please, Seraphina. Stay with me." Her answer was to collapse into his arms, letting him carry her to bed, letting him hold her through the fear. The next morning, Joon-woo was already making calls when Seraphina woke. His voice carried from the study, cold, lethal, absolutely terrifying. "Find who made that call. Find them, bring them to me alive, and make sure they understand what happens when you threaten what's mine." She found him behind his desk, jaw clenched, fury radiating from every line of his massive frame. "You should be resting," he said, spotting her. "I'm done running." She moved into his arms. "I'm done being scared. Whatever comes, we face it together." Relief softened his features. "Together." I like the sound of that. "But, Joon-woo!" She pulled back to meet his gaze. "I need you to understand. I'm all in, completely committed. But that means you need to trust me. Trust that I'm not going anywhere, even when I'm scared." "I trust you." His thumb traced her lower lip. "It's trusting the world that's hard." "Then we work on that together, too." He kissed her softly, a promise sealed between them. 3 days later, Joon-woo's men found the source of the threat, a rival gang leader named Park Sang-min trying to destabilize Joon-woo's operations by targeting his weakness. They brought him to an undisclosed location where Joon-woo waited. "You threatened my woman," Joon-woo said calmly, though violence simmered beneath his control. "Do you understand what that means?" Park Sang-min spat blood. "She's just a woman, a distraction. You've gone soft, Seo." "Soft?" Joon-woo's laugh was terrifying. "I've dismantled 3 of your operations this week. I've seized your assets, turned your men, and destroyed your alliances, all while keeping the woman I love completely safe. That's not soft. That's focused." He leaned closer, his voice dropping to a deadly whisper. "You're going to leave the country. Tonight. Because if I ever see you again, if you ever so much as think about Seraphina, I won't just kill you. I'll erase every trace of your existence. Your family, your legacy, your name. Gone. Do we understand each other?" Park's defiance crumbled. "Yes, yes, I understand." "Good." Joon-woo straightened. "Now get out of my city." That evening, Seraphina was waiting when Joon-woo returned home, concern etched on her face. "Is it handled?" "It's handled." He pulled her close, breathing in her scent. "He's gone. You're safe." "What did you do?" She wasn't sure she wanted to know. "What I needed to do to protect you, nothing more, nothing less." His eyes met hers. "I won't apologize for what I am, Seraphina, but I'll always use what I am to keep you safe." She understood then, truly, understood, what loving him meant. It meant accepting all of him, the darkness and the light, the violence and the tenderness. It meant trusting him to protect her even when his methods frightened her. "I love you," she said simply. "All of you, even the parts that scare me. You're braver than anyone I've ever met." He kissed her forehead. "My strong, beautiful woman." They stood together in his study, wrapped in each other, survivors of another storm. 2 weeks later, life began to settle again, though Seraphina knew peace would always be temporary in Joon-woo's world. She'd made her choice, to love him despite the danger, to build a life in the spaces between threats. At the gallery, business boomed. Joon-woo's reputation, and by extension hers, attracted high-profile clients. She was finalizing a major exhibition when Joon-woo arrived unexpectedly, his expression serious. "We need to talk." Her heart skipped. Those words never meant anything good. They drove to the estate, in silence. In his study, he poured them both drinks with steady hands, then knelt before her, this powerful, dangerous man on his knees. "I told you I'd ask again when the time was right." He pulled out a ring, a stunning diamond surrounded by emeralds that matched her eyes. "Seraphina Cole, will you marry me? Will you let me spend the rest of my life protecting you, loving you, worshiping you? Will you be my wife?" Tears blurred her vision. "Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes." He slid the ring onto her finger, then kissed her with such tenderness it broke her heart and healed it simultaneously. "You're mine now," he murmured against her lips. "Legally, spiritually, irrevocably mine." "Yours," she agreed, surrendering to the beautiful inevitability of them. 3 months later. The wedding was intimate, just close friends and family, heavily secured. Seraphina wore ivory silk that hugged her curves, her bouquet of peonies trembling in her hands. When she walked down the aisle and saw Joon-woo waiting, this giant of a man with tears in his eyes, she knew she'd made the right choice. "You're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen," he whispered when she reached him. "You clean up pretty well yourself." She smiled through her own tears. The ceremony was simple but profound. When they exchanged vows, Joon-woo's voice rang with absolute conviction. "I vow to protect you with my life. I vow to love you with every breath. I vow to never leave, never stray, never give you reason to doubt. You're my heart, Seraphina, my only heart." Her own vows were equally fierce. "I vow to stand beside you through every storm. I vow to trust in your protection and your love. I vow to be your peace in a violent world. You're my home, Joon-woo, my only home." When they kissed as husband and wife, The room erupted in applause, but all Seraphina heard was his whispered, "Mine, forever mine." Their wedding night. Joon-woo carried Seraphina over the threshold of their master bedroom, his eyes dark with desire and devotion. "My wife," he said reverently. "My perfect, beautiful wife." "Your wife," she agreed, already reaching for him. They made love with desperate tenderness, claiming each other anew with whispered promises and reverent touches. Afterward, tangled together in silk sheets, Seraphina traced the dragons on his chest. "Happy?" he asked, kissing her hair. "Happier than I ever imagined possible." She looked up at him. "You saved me, you know. Not just from danger, but from myself, from believing I wasn't worth fighting for." "You saved me too." His hand splayed possessively across her stomach. "Before you, I was just surviving, moving through life without really living. You gave me purpose beyond power. You gave me love. We saved each other then." "Yes." His smile was soft. "We did." 6 months later. Seraphina stood in front of the bathroom mirror, staring at the pregnancy test in her trembling hands. Positive. She was carrying Joon-woo's child. Fear and joy warred in her chest. Bringing a child into this dangerous world. Was it fair? Was it safe? But when Joon-woo came home and she told him, his reaction obliterated her fears. He dropped to his knees, pressing his face to her still flat stomach, tears streaming down his cheeks. "A baby. We're having a baby." His voice broke with emotion. "Seraphina, you've given me everything, but this—" "Are you happy?" she whispered, running her fingers through his hair. He looked up at her, his expression raw with love. "Happy doesn't begin to cover it. Terrified, yes, because now I have even more to protect. But happy? I'm beyond happy. I'm complete." He stood, cradling her face. "I'll keep you both safe. I swear it on my life. Nothing will ever harm you or our child." I know. And she did know. This man, her husband, her protector, her love, would burn the world to keep them safe. 2 months later, the second major threat came swift and brutal. A rival organization, threatened by Joon-woo's expanding power, orchestrated a coordinated attack. They hit his businesses, his associates, his properties, all while searching for his greatest weakness, Seraphina. She was at the gallery despite Joon-woo's protests. She refused to hide, refused to stop living because of threats. But when the men stormed in, overwhelming her bodyguards, she realized she'd made a fatal mistake. They dragged her to a van, bound and terrified, her hands instinctively protecting her stomach. The baby. She had to protect the baby. The leader, a cold-eyed man named Choi Jae-sung, smiled cruelly. "Seo Joon-woo thinks he's untouchable. Let's see how untouchable he feels when we send his pregnant wife back to him piece by piece." Terror unlike anything she'd ever known consumed her. Not for herself, for her child. For Joon-woo, who would destroy himself trying to save them. But she was Seraphina Seo now, and she hadn't survived this long by being weak. Meanwhile, Joon-woo received the video. Seraphina bound in a dark room, terrified but defiant, and something inside him shattered. The carefully controlled man, the strategic leader, the calculated boss, all of it burned away, leaving only primal rage. "Find her!" His voice was death itself. "Find her now, or I'll kill everyone in this city until I do." His entire organization mobilized. Every contact, every resource, every favor owed. All of it deployed to find his wife and child. Joon-woo moved through the city like an avenging angel, leaving destruction in his wake. He found the location within hours, an abandoned warehouse on the waterfront. He went in alone, armed and absolutely lethal. "Choi Jae-sung," his voice echoed through the building. "You took something of mine. I'm here to take it back." Men appeared, armed and numerous. Joon-woo didn't care. He moved through them with brutal efficiency, Years of violence and skill converging into one singular purpose: save Seraphina. Nothing else mattered, not his own safety, not his empire, not his life. Only her. In the warehouse. Seraphina heard the gunfire, the screams, the chaos. Then the door burst open, and Joon-woo stood there, covered in blood, wild-eyed, terrifying and beautiful. Joon-woo. She tried to stand, but the ropes held her. He crossed to her in seconds, cutting her bonds with shaking hands. Are you hurt? The baby? We're okay. We're both okay. She threw her arms around him, feeling him tremble. You came. Always. He pulled back, checking her for injuries. I'll always come for you. Did they hurt you? Touch you? No. You got here in time. Behind them, Choi Jae-sung appeared, gun raised. Touching reunion. But it ends here. Joon-woo moved faster than thought, shielding Seraphina with his massive body as the gun fired. Pain exploded through his shoulder, but he didn't fall. Instead, he turned, his own weapon rising. You threatened my wife. Threatened my child. His voice was calm, final. That's unforgivable. The shot echoed. Choi fell, and it was over. At the hospital. Seraphina sat beside Joon-woo's bed as doctors stitched his shoulder, her hands never leaving him. The bullet had gone clean through, painful but not fatal. He'd survive. They'd both survive. You took a bullet for me, she whispered. I'd take 1,000 bullets for you. His good hand found hers. You and our child. You're my everything, Seraphina. My entire world. I'll die before I let anything harm you. Don't talk about dying. Her voice broke. I need you. We need you. I'm not going anywhere. He pulled her closer, kissing her forehead. I promise you, I'm here for all of it. Every moment, every joy, every fear. I'm yours until my last breath. And beyond, she added, remembering their vows. And beyond. He agreed. 6 months later. Seraphina went into labor on a Tuesday evening, 3 weeks early. Joon-woo transformed into a nervous wreck. This man who'd faced death without flinching, reduced to panic by his wife's contractions. Breathe, she told him between contractions. You need to breathe. I'm breathing. You breathe. His hand gripped hers, massive and gentle. You're doing amazing. So strong. So perfect. 18 hours later, their daughter arrived, tiny, perfect, with her mother's eyes and her father's dark hair. Joon-woo held her with shaking hands, tears streaming down his face. She's perfect, he whispered. Seraphina, she's absolutely perfect. She has your nose, Seraphina said, exhausted and euphoric. Poor child. His laugh was watery. But she has your beauty, your strength. He looked at his wife, his expression overwhelmed with love. Thank you. Thank you for her, for you, for this life. You've given me everything. Seraphina watched her dangerous, powerful husband cradle their newborn daughter with infinite gentleness and knew that every fear, every threat, every dark moment had been worth it for this. 3 years later, Seraphina stood in the garden of their estate, watching Joon-woo play with their daughter, Ji-woo. Their 2-year-old son, Min-jun, slept peacefully in her arms. Life had settled into something beautiful, dangerous still, yes, but theirs. Joon-woo had restructured his organization, moving away from the most violent operations, focusing on legitimate businesses. Not because she'd asked, but because he wanted his children to inherit something more than blood and fear. He looked up, caught her watching, and smiled. That devastating smile that still made her heart race. He said something to Ji-woo, who giggled and ran toward her mother. Iyama, Appa says dinner soon. Your Appa is very smart. Seraphina kissed her daughter's dark hair. Joon-woo wrapped his arms around them all, his family, his world. Happy? He murmured against Seraphina's temple. Impossibly happy. She leaned into him. You know, I've been thinking about that night, when I got in your car by mistake. best mistake either of us ever made. Was it a mistake, though? Sometimes I think, maybe it was fate. Maybe I was always supposed to find you. Or you were supposed to find me. I found my everything, he said simply. My wife, my love, my reason for being. That night, you climbed into my car and changed my entire world. You taught me that even men like me, dark men, violent men, deserve softness, deserve love, deserve you. And you taught me that I deserve to be chosen, to be protected, to be loved obsessively and completely. She turned in his arms. Thank you for locking those doors. Thank you for not letting me leave. Thank you for staying. He kissed her softly, for seeing past the monster to the man underneath, for loving all of me. They stood together as the sun set over their estate, their children between them, safe and loved and whole. Two people who'd found each other in the most impossible way, who'd fought for their love through danger and fear, who'd built something beautiful from darkness. Seraphina looked at her husband, this giant of a man who'd brought her to her knees in the best way, and smiled. I love you, Seo Joon-woo. I love you more, Seraphina Seo, forever and always. And forever it would be. Thank you for your time. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more dark romance content. Leave a comment telling me which scene was your favorite.